Welcome to another episode of Half Baked, which is the podcast or vodcast where two northerners argue a contentious slash non-contentious issue every week. One of us is going to present a half-baked idea, and the other will attempt to find out the shortcomings of this, or maybe not. Maybe they'll agree with it. Maybe they'll rebut it. Is rebut a thing?
I think it is, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, there we are. Phil, it's your turn to introduce the topic today. But before we do that,
I did think.
I've got a couple of questions for you. And
Okay.
I also need to finish off what Half Baked is all about, because by the end of the episode, we will decide whether we are going to fully bake the idea today, your idea, or not. But it behoves me to ask, Phil, how are you? Where are you? What are you wearing?
Yeah, I did think you were going off prematurely a little bit there, Alistair, by diving straight into the topic. But I'm glad you've asked me those two questions. I am here in the pantry today, not in the bakery, because you're ensconced in the bakery, as we know. And I am haven't. It's been a great week. We've had a great week here in sunny Northern California. Lots of events happening, and I am wearing, as usual, Hugo Boss, but with Spanx. This is a Spanx top, and I like Spanx tops. Very sucks you in kind of experience. There you go. Yeah,
Spanx.
Spanx.
What is a Spanx?
Spanx, I believe, is a company that started doing underwear for ladies, and which again was like almost like a corset to really pull them in the places that they wanted to be pulled in, and yeah, they expanded to other things as well. So that's my.
Are you being pulled in right now, Phil?
I am being pulled right this minute.
Amazing.
So,
Good to hear.
Alistair,
Yeah,
let's move on to how are you? Where are you? And what are you wearing?
I'm really good. I'm in the bakery, aka upstairs in your house in California. I'm really good. It has been a great week. It's been really good fun, and we've, I think, come up with loads of ideas for hot takes for Half Baked, which is really exciting. I'm wearing I don't know what you call it, salmon peach, I don't know, t-shirt, but I'm wearing trousers which have got a lot of elastane in them because I'm a middle-aged man, and an elastic waistband with elastane in the trousers is a great thing when you're a middle-aged man. Which is what I found recently. I would highly recommend it to any other middle-aged men out there. Right, well, let's get into things. Phil, it's your half-baked idea this week. I don't really know what it is. I'm all ears. I'm ready to take notes. So tell us what your half-baked idea is.
Yeah, the half-baked idea. So I've been thinking about this for a while, and it's unusual actually because I've been thinking about it a while, but still haven't thought about it in any real depth, as we'll see when we talk about it. But
Unusual.
that's right. Who would have thought? The I don't know about you, but I know several people who have taken their lives throughout the years, and suicide. And to be clear, and it always seemed to me a terrible, terrible waste. Terrible waste. Uh, Getting born and staying alive. There's so many things that have to happen in order to make you you. The confluence of the egg and the sperm coming together, and just that being that particular sperm and that particular egg, and how much somebody's drunk, and all sorts of things have to come together, pun intended, in order to make you you. And it's and my son was pointing this out because that's such a confluence of events that have to happen in order to make you you. To then kind of take your own life, kind of what are you thinking? So yeah, it's happened several times throughout my life where I've found out that people have taken their own life, and always seems such a waste. And so I was thinking, what about an alternative to suicide? And the idea that I
Okay.
hit on was that what if instead of killing yourself, you instead left your current life behind and go somewhere else and do something that will help others and completely start a new life. A kind of a Reginald Perrin kind of concept, which most of our viewers might not be familiar with. The Reginald Perrin. It was. I'll let you talk about Reginald Perrin because I know that you know things about it, Alistair. But it's that idea of leaving your old life behind, completely, completely behind, and going doing something else. That's the suicide alternative.
Right. Okay. This is interesting. For non-Reggie Perrin viewers, Reggie Perrin was a TV show in the UK in the 1970s, and it involved. I mean, it was great. It was super. It involved, from what I remember, Leonard Rossiter kind of doing what you're saying. So wanting to kill himself, deciding that he didn't want to. So he'd run at the start of every episode. He'd run into the sea. He'd take off his clothes, run into the sea. For whatever reason, maybe it was too cold, or maybe he changed his mind. He ran back out again, and then he just adopted alter egos and did other things with his life instead. So I think that's kind of what you're driving at. But I'm kind of wondering if there's a philanthropic nature to what
There
you're
is.
saying as well. So
There
in
is.
other words, what is is your idea some kind of far, farm, for want of a better word, for suicidal people where they have to, quote unquote, do other things that are going to hopefully give them some sort of purpose in life, because lacking in purpose is a key part of kind of mental health issues, I think, in my experience. And they have to give back. Is that was that kind of the idea?
Yeah, and they don't have to give back, but it's a way. You're absolutely right. There's a philanthropic nature of this. They don't have to give back, but it's the idea of you were gonna kill yourself, so don't do that. Go and do something that will actually benefit other people, um, because why not? And what's one slight difference between Reginald Perrin and what we're talking about here? There, he fakes his own death. I'm not suggesting you fake your death. You very clearly say, I'm done with this life. I'm going to do this other life. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Philanthropic. And the reason I didn't use the word philanthropic is because I was worried that was mispronounced philanthropic, because I don't usually say it very often. But
Even though, even though, you probably only have to think about half the word because you're called Phil.
that's right. There is
Forget about
that.
the Phil bit. It's you. Just concentrate on
Anthropic.
Anthropic.
So the other thing is that I don't think we have it in the UK, but a few years back, 5 years, 6 years, I don't know, I met a couple that had done something called a Peace Corps, which is a thing over here where they'd been successful in life and then they'd gone this somehow applied to the Peace Corps and they'd been sent overseas to then do some kind of philanthropic mission in a country in Africa or something like that for 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever it was, and then they came back. So again, a similar kind of idea that you leave your life behind and you go. Now they came back to this one, but I thought, well, why not take that one step further and have an organisation which finds people who are suicidal. They don't have to pass any qualification necessarily. They ship them out to somewhere else, and they help other people with their lives. What a fantastic thing that would be, right? And it maybe even goes somewhere where it's dangerous, where they may die. But maybe that's all right because they were going to kill themselves anyway. So why not go somewhere where they may end up actually being dead?
Yeah, yeah, killing two birds with one stone. So kind of, so, so we could say you could choose to go to Ukraine, and you could go there kind of in moral impunity and think, you know what, brilliant. If I take out a few of the Wagner group before I get shot, great, I've done something good, right?
And it may not even be in a violent way. There may just be in a non-violent thing. Okay, ship us into a Ukrainian city, and we'll be a human shield.
Oh yeah, okay. What good is a human shield?
I don't know, but there'll be. I don't know. Maybe it might make the
I think
opposing force.
I'm not sure you understand what a human shield is, Phil. I think a human shield is where you get the enemy and you make them like a shield to protect you as being. So I think it's a bad thing to do. But I don't know. I've never been a
I
human
don't think
shield.
that should, and maybe that is a stupid suggestion, but I don't think that should undermine my the whole concept
I agree.
entirely.
I agree. Okay, so couple of things, couple of issues. Where does free will stand in all of this? If someone wants to top themselves, I don't think you can say top themselves anymore, can you?
I
Anyway, I
don't
don't
know.
know. If someone wants to top themselves, it's up to them whether they want to do it or not, right?
Yeah,
So the whole argument about it's we each of us is a miracle. The fact that we're alive, the fact that sperm and that egg came together is like one in a trillion or whatever, right? But I think
ignore.
by the same token, it's like that you've been given life. It's entirely within your gift what you want to do with it. And if
I
you're
agree.
all of a
I
sudden
agree.
not allowed to commit suicide, to commit suicide, can you say? I don't think you can anymore. We'll come back to that. Then that kind of defeats the object of being alive in the first place. To me, is that not right?
Yeah, and I think that's fair enough. People should be allowed to do what they want to do within reason, as long as they're not affecting other people
Yeah,
dramatically,
yeah.
um, unless in a good way. But my impression, and I could be wrong, is that people who commit suicide are in despair and are doing it to escape. And what I'm suggesting is a different way to escape the position they're in, which doesn't involve them killing themselves, which could have all sorts of repercussions on the people that are left behind. And it does the opposite. The people that are left behind know that this person is still alive. They know they've got a purpose to go and help other people, and then they go and help other people. I mean, it's a fantastic way to escape.
So is this a voluntary thing, or is it the state intervening with someone who's been sectioned, for example, and saying, you're going on the plane, you're going to suicide camp, and you're going to be a human shield
No,
or whatever.
it'd be totally
Not that.
voluntary. You would just, it would be an option that'd be advertised where you're feeling suicidal. Don't do that. Do this.
Do this instead. Okay. So that kind of the success of it rests on someone realizing that they want to do that. But if you're suicidal, you don't realize it, do you? That's kind of the problem. But I suspect there could be an element of I'm warming to this idea. There could be an element of friends and family saying, "Have you even heard of this thing? This Peace Corps esque type of alternative," and suggesting it to them, which kind of is potentially the prompt that someone needs to think, "Yeah, okay, I'm not going to do myself in. I'll at least give it a go."
Yeah, and it goes back to your thing about free will, right? Life's about being able to make your own choices, and this is a choice you can make. People often can't think of an alternative to go forward, and this is the only option open to them to kill themselves. This is okay. That's one solution. Here's an alternative solution that's open to you, and you can choose to go down that alternative way.
Cool.
And
In
I
my
think that's
head,
a much
in
better thing.
in my head, so I get it. I'm really warming to the idea. But in my head, you end up with a plane full of suicidal people going off to the place. Now that could be problematic, right? Particularly if the pilot is one of them.
Yeah, you'd probably not want the pilot to be suicidal.
Because there's a difference between suicide and murder, as I understand it. And then, okay, let's assume that the pilot isn't one of them. They get to the other end, and they're just going to kind of propagate. You've just got a load of miserable, suicidal people together.
But you
That could be
see,
really bad.
I see. I don't see it like that. I think as soon as when people are arrested and they get their photo taken, they can't. Americans specifically, I'm thinking of, and maybe American teenagers or girls. I'm not certain, but they can't help but smile because they've been programmed from an early age. Whenever somebody's taking a picture, to smile. So they smile on these. What are the photos they're called when you go to prison? And then people say, "Why were they smiling?" Well, they can't help
Mugshot.
themselves. They can't help themselves. They're pre-programmed to do that. And I think it's very similar. If you had a whole load of suicidal people getting on a plane, I think they'd be happy all of a sudden because it's just like they'll be pre-programmed. Oh, we're going on holiday. And you can't help but be
Yeah,
happy when you go on holiday, right?
yeah,
And they're meeting all
yeah.
sorts of people. They've got loads of things in common because they're all really miserable and suicidal. And getting the menu of people, and because they're suicidal, they don't really care whether they're what they do, and don't care about getting sexually transmitted diseases. So all very promiscuous, and so it's just like going to Spain, Marbella, basically.
You could call it the jolly plane, and you could like paint a really happy face, cartoon face, on the outside of it to help with the transition from catastrophic desperation to outright joy.
That's
Um,
right,
literally, as soon as they walk into the plane and start singing songs.
exactly. That's exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. So that's great. Um, what what if it doesn't work? What if it fails? What then?
In what way? What kind of failure mechanism are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I'm going to give it a go because I might as well. I've got nowhere else to turn, and you know what? My friends and family, I feel for them, and they advise me to do it. I go and I do it, and it makes me feel worse than I was before. And then I taught myself.
Fine, that's fine.
That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, at least we tried.
Uh huh.
You can't look after everybody, right? All the time. If it doesn't work out for them, you know,
Okay.
they were going to kill themselves anyway, so that's fine. Just do it in a way that's not doesn't make a very much mess for cleanup, please.
For Harvey Keitel. Okay. Look, what I'm warming to the idea, as I've said 3 times now, and I think I'm warming to. I think it comes back to purpose, and I can speak from experience here. When you are feeling down or suicidal, or whatever it is, you generally you lose your need to live, and need to live is all about having a purpose, whatever that could be. Purpose could be anything. It could be playing chess or bridge. It could be helping other people out. It could be football. It could be anything. I mean, as a Newcastle United fan, I've lost my purpose many times over the last few years. And this is something that would, I think, give a complete. So the first thing is it's changing the environment, right? I think when you're down, you get stuck in that awful what's the point routine, and every day is the same, and every day is like Sunday, and every day is tired and grey, and all that sort of stuff. So it kind of immediately changes that, I think. But I think the other thing is the sense of purpose that you would garner from helping someone else out is could be hugely, could be profoundly strong to someone in that desperate state of mind. And I also, so there's a couple of reasons there, but I also think it's let's just give it a go type of thing. Do you know what I mean? Why not? What's the alternative? If it doesn't work. At least we tried, right?
Exactly. Why not?
Cool. Okay. Well, I'm really warming to the idea.
That's the fourth time now. I also noticed you were quoting Morrissey, which I thought was quite appropriate since we were talking about suicide. Not that he's committed suicide or is thinking of committing suicide anytime soon, but
Indeed.
although I'm not supposed to use the word committed suicide any longer. Yeah,
You're not allowed to say commit suicide any longer. Is that right? I
apparently,
knew there was some kind of new.
yeah.
Um,
And the reason for that, which I've only just read, is that it's because committing things is like a sin, and it shouldn't be thought of as a sin, which I kind of really. I'm not saying it is or isn't a sin, but that's not how I read the
is,
word committed when I
is,
in that.
mar- is, is marriage not? Is marriage not a commitment? I mean,
It is.
marriage is
You should get
tantamount to
marriage.
ending your life, obviously. Um,
You don't
So
commit a marriage, though. You commit a robbery.
I committed a marriage. The point being, the point being, you commit's a good thing, right? But it's
I think
committed.
so.
I'm look. I hate this stuff. It's like I don't know. You're not allowed to say brainstorm anymore. Is that right? You can't
I think
brainstorm things. You can't use a
I'm such allowed
blackboard,
to say that.
huh?
Yeah, that's you can say brainstorm. Blackboard, you can say blackboard.
But they don't want you to say brainstorm, blackboard, or committed, right?
They,
Whoever they are, they don't want you to say that.
I hate them.
I hate who are they? Who is they? Who've got these stupid ideas, and they think that by taking the letters ed off a word is going to change people's minds. I don't subscribe to that. That sounds like all matter of nonsense to me.
Yeah, nonsense. Good.
Okay, couple of things just maybe before we round off. I do remember saying to you, Phil, I think my hair is receding. What would you do if your hair fell out? And you said, I'd kill myself.
That's true. I did.
I remember clearly you saying that. So I'm just, so those that type of approach and this type of idea make uneasy bedfellows.
Yeah. Well, that was a very different situation. I wasn't thinking about killing myself. I was just offering some sage advice.
Yeah, good. Yeah, no. In which case, absolutely fine. Yeah, that's.
I wasn't expecting you to follow through on my suggestion. I mean, if I had told you to jump off a cliff, would you? I hope not.
No, I
I
wouldn't.
wouldn't tell you to jump off a cliff. I wouldn't do the kind of thing. Well, I might do, but
Cool. So I think the main problem I had with this idea when you introduced it, and when I thought about it, was free will and determination and all that sort of stuff. But it's voluntary. I don't know why I said it like that. It's voluntary, so that's a good thing, and it's just another alternative, and it could be another tool that's given to loads of mental health charities and advice lines and councils and all this sort of stuff, as being something that could change the outcome for someone, which is cool. So I know you don't need me to sign off on this particularly, but if I needed to, I would do. How are you feeling? I don't know if I rebutted very well. Rebutted?
I don't think you need to rebut. I think you should analyse the point in isolation and figure out whether it's a good idea or not, and not feel the need to rebut. It would need funding. Somebody would need to spend some money to make it a reality. And yeah, I think
people would do that, right? People are looking for ways, just like the Peace Corps set up. That needed funding, and it worked out. So funding tends to take care of itself for things like this. I mean, the fact that we're even talking about suicide and mental health, we wouldn't have done that 5 years ago. So it's become such a part of the mainstream agenda, which is a great thing in such a short space of time, that it would be able to get interest and funding, I suspect.
I think so too.
So, how are you feeling about your idea? I'm feeling like you're going to bake it.
Yeah, Alistair, there's no doubt in my mind that this should be fully baked, and maybe we should even do something about it.
Yeah. All right. That doesn't involve killing ourselves.
Exactly. Yes,
Okay.
I wasn't what I was suggesting. Not at this moment, anyway. I wasn't suggesting
I
that.
love it. It's a great idea, and I think we've talked about it in the round, which is great.
Good. Okay. Well, end of another episode of Half Baked.
And thank you to all of our legions. They are legion of fans who have been tuning in. Next week, we will be discussing another half-baked idea. Until then, take care of yourselves.